Haunting Live podcast.
Welcome to our second part of this episode. This being our milestone show, we've changed a few things, so hit the like button and help our channel grow. In this episode, we keep chatting with psychic medium Scott Allan about his experience he's had along his mediumship journey. Visit our sponsor, the most gifted psychics. Call 866-228-2883 and mention code word HauntingLive to receive 10 minutes for just $10. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Yeah, for sure. It's hard to say because sometimes, even when you're sitting with somebody and doing a reading, you don't know if that connection is there right away on both sides because the sitter has to understand how you're feeling and they have to be connected with you on that level too, right? So, and if they don't understand what you're saying, then sometimes it's hard to get that connection.
It is, and sometimes, things happen in different ways. You'll get multiple people coming in, multiple spirits, and they sort of overlap, so bits and pieces of it, you have to kind of like separate them a little bit and say, okay, one at a time. And I also, I think I do a pretty good job of telling people how I work and how I get my messages. And so, you come in thinking, my God, I really want to speak to my dad, but somebody else comes through and you're trying to make that fit, and it doesn't really fit your dad. You shouldn't have to work at it. Like when it's right, it's just really right on, you know.
And that's hard too because people come in with expectations, right? They expect to contact that one family member that just passed away or something, and quite often that's not the case. So, is it hard when that
Yeah,
happens?
sometimes I get it.
Is that hard for you
Yeah.
when that happens when you don't connect with the person that they want?
I connect with the person that I'm supposed to connect with. And, I feel bad if they want to speak with their dad and their dad doesn't come through. It doesn't mean their dad doesn't love them. It just means that maybe he doesn't have a message for them. I've had people come to sit with me who are the messenger, quite frankly. The message isn't for them, it's for their brother's friend or something. You know what I mean? And they're doing something important by being here. They get the message. They know completely what we're discussing. They may not know all the details, but they take it with them. And I'll give you an example. I had sort of an impromptu reading, but through Facebook Messenger of all places, and it was with someone I know, and the person that came through was her sister's best friend's sister. Knew of her, but we knew exactly who it was. We described her, what she was wearing. She had her little dog with her. We gave these messages and signs, and it was all right there. We knew it was her. We knew how she died, everything. But it wasn't, you know what I mean? The message was to be given to her sister, not to be kept for herself. It wasn't her message. So sometimes that happens too.
Yeah, there's a reason why that happened. So that was meant for
Yeah.
somebody else. So, but you
Yeah.
helped that too. So, speaking of that kind of stuff, then when you work with your clients day to day, how do you kind of go into a reading, and what would your procedure be for a client day to day?
So you mean internally for myself to raise my vibration?
Yeah,
Is that
like
what you mean?
what would you do to I guess start the reading for a client? Like how do you practice your day to day
Yeah, I mean, so
readings?
in terms of, a meditation, that kind of thing, I don't meditate before a reading. I think if you have a routine of doing it periodically, you're okay. But I can't spend, 35 minutes or 40 minutes before a client to do that. So I kind of take 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and just take a couple of deep breaths. And the day before that, I'm saying, David, come on, I've got a reading tomorrow. Can you bring this person's whomever through their loved ones that they're looking for? And they don't let me down. So I'll sit down and we'll get together, whether it's through Zoom like this, because I do Zoom readings because I have people all over the world. But whether it's in person or in Zoom, it's the same thing. I tell them how I operate, how I get messages. That sometimes I'll get something I won't always know what it means, but just take it. It may not be as literal as I get it. You just be open. You know what I mean? Be open to it, and take it with you. And I'll give you everything that I get. I tend not to get. I don't deliver bad news. I don't get bad news. I don't want bad news. I don't ask for that. And I'm also not into the whole medical thing either. I know some people are medical intuitives. I'm really not interested in that either because I don't want to, I just don't trust that enough. You need to go to your doctor when you're having medical issues. So I don't get into that either. Even if I feel sometimes, you should get something checked. I just don't get into it. But I tell people that. I tell people that. I'm not going to predict the future. That's not what I do. I'm not going to give you bad news. I'm not going to tell you you're going to drive off the road. I mean, it's just not that kind of thing. I'm purely direct communication with those on the other side. And usually they're people that have something to say. They want to talk to you as much as you want to talk to them. They come through with clear messages. And those messages they tend to be sometimes pretty profound. We had one recently where a man came through to tell his son that, look, I'm sorry that I was not as involved as you would have liked me to be, and it wasn't because I don't love you. It's because of this, and this, and those are the messages that come through. It's that left behind business that people want to get out of the way so they can move on.
And is that the most of the type of readings that you find that you get from people? Is that the main thing that they're looking for? Is that connection with somebody that's crossed, or do they tend to ask for different things?
I've had some people say, "Do you see anything else?" And for me, I mean, I'm a medium, and all psychics are medium. All mediums are psychics, not all psychics are mediums. So, you can. If I am to get something else, it comes from spirit, and I'll ask them, is there anything you want to share me about what they're doing? And a couple of times I've had, geez, are you writing a book? Because I feel like they're telling, yeah, I am writing a book, that kind of stuff. It'll come, but it comes from the other side. Or, there's a baby coming. Did you know? Do you know there's a baby coming? No, I don't know. Okay, well, they're telling me there's a baby coming. And then there's a baby coming, it's just, that kind of stuff. I don't feel like I'm reading auras or anything like that. I really feel like everything I get is just coming straight from the spirit world.
And that way, too, you know what's real, too, for your side, that you're getting the correct message because you know it's coming from spirit still.
I do. I'm confident in that, and that's a little bit of a process to go through to gain that confidence and know that what you're getting is coming from them. Kind of amazing. And when you get a no, it's okay because it's not an exact science. Sometimes you get a no. I don't understand that. Doesn't mean you're wrong, but let's face it. Do you know everything about your family? Do you know everything about your mother, your father, your aunt, whatever? There might be something that someone else knows. That might be another piece of the puzzle that you pick up at a later date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely for sure. So let's touch a little bit about your other passions that you do then. I know you're also a radio show host yourself.
Yeah, I
Tell
am.
us a little bit about your show.
So my show is called the radio show. It's called the Paranormal Project Radio Show. That came about. We're fairly new with that. We went live in the UK actually in April of this year. So that came about because I did that event, that gallery event in Scotland, and I was on a tour with Andrea Perrin from the Conjuring movies, and Neil Story, who's an historian in England, and Rick McCallum, who's a ghost hunter in Scotland, but he's also from Hollywood. He's been in the Friday the 13th movies. He was a stunt double for all the Friday the 13th movies. So they picked up on this radio station in the UK, and I ended up going on the air, and I got a call a week and a half later and said, "Gee, would you like to, have your own show?" And I thought, really? Sure. Yeah, why not? I had no idea if I was going to get any guests. I mean, I didn't think, I had no idea, probably I thought it'd just be friends of mine, but I did, and it went in the UK, and it kind of grew pretty quickly. And then I was on Andrea's show. She had me on her show, World Awakening, when I was on that, her producer came on at the end of the show and said, "Geez, I'd love to produce you here in the United States." So we are still in the UK on Pulse Talk Radio, but I send them a file. I send them a finished show. Whereas here in the US, we're live every Wednesday night at 7 Eastern. And we've had a great time with some fun guests that we have on the show, and lots planning to come on through January. We're booked out into, I think, January now. Yeah.
It's wonderful how things just fall together from being all the way over there in Scotland to having it over in the US as well. So that must have made a huge connection for you.
It's just been fun. It's just been fun, you know. Yeah, it's been really great.
Yes,
But
and
I love the radio show.
yeah,
I love doing the show every Wednesday night.
yeah. What kind of topics do you mostly talk about?
It's all paranormal, mediumship. So last week we had an author on talking about her new book, Haunted Detroit. This week we're talking about a castle in Vermont. Then Rick McCallum, Jason's stunt double from Friday the 13th, is actually coming on in a couple of weeks. We've got the new owner of the Conjuring House coming on. I've got Bram Stoker's great grandnephew coming on to talk about his books. I've got a lot of different people plugged in through the end of the year and into January. So kind of excited about that, and you never know where it's going to take you.
No, for sure. Just want to say too, yes, I do know Andrea. I've had the pleasure of having her on our show here twice now, so it's
How
been
great
great
is
to
that?
have her
She's a
on. So
wonderful person.
yeah,
Wonderful person.
yeah, definitely. Been so super nice to be able to meet her and be friends with her now as well. So
That's
pretty
great. We're going
cool.
to be at the Conjuring House together in October. So there's an event there. It's not going to be as huge as they had originally hoped, unfortunately, mainly because of parking concerns. But they do have events on the 30th, and I'll be there with her on the 30th, which should be a lot of fun.
But yeah, that's about it for here. So thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate you being on here with us today on Haunting Live and talking to us.
Thank you, Trevor. It's been a pleasure. Really.
Yes, thank you.
Miss one of our episodes? Replay our episodes on Rhode Island Broadcasting, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. EST. Show your support for Haunting Live by supporting our broadcast partner, Rhode Island Broadcasting. Find them on YouTube. The paranormal can happen at any time, so that's why our Etsy store is always open. Get your paranormal items from cleansing to protection to attraction, all available now on our Etsy store. Search Haunting Live.